Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 11-day Back to Center Life Reset. I have been so just enthusiastic, excited, absorbing everything, and I'm just riding this incredible energy of these incredible, epic conversations with these incredible humans, and I cannot wait to introduce you to today's guest teacher. But before I do, I just want to remind you to really give yourself the gift of presence and being present here. So if you need to pause this recording and ask the fam to give you 45 minutes just so that you can be here and absorb this and really give yourself the opportunity to open up your heart and open up your eyes and your ears and your cells and just expect a miracle in this conversation. Expect a shift because you will get one. And so without further ado, today's guest teacher is this beautiful woman that's she's shining bright. Her light just comes right through her eyes and she's so elegant and poised and full of grace. And this is the amazing Sherri Nickols. Hi, Sherri.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here, Britta.
We're so happy to have you. And for those of you that remember last year, Sherri was part of the very incredible, the Wealth Ascension retreat that we did last year. So I just knew that we had to have her back because her contribution is epic. It's incredible. And I know that there's so much wisdom that comes through her every time that we get together, whether it was with the team last year or myself. So let me tell you a little bit about Sherri. So Sherri is an author, a spiritual healer, and a women's empowerment coach. And she's just this, those people that are very in tune, she has really mastered this listening to her intuitive guidance, this connection to her heart, the mind-heart coherence, just this feminine grace. And she is just the epitome of really flowing and really surrendering to the guidance. And we are going to be talking a lot about that today. Actually, the topic, I'm going to read it here for you guys, is how to build massive faith and access your divine channel of wisdom. And Sherri and I had discussed that we were going to talk about during uncertain times. But to me, this is during all times, but so important that during these times, a lot of us have actually been led back home internally to really learn how to master this, because we've realized that listening to the outside world has really not gotten us to that path that's truly aligned for us. I call it God's path, the God's will and personal prescription for my life. So Sherri, I want to first start out by asking you, what happened in your life or career where you just knew that you needed to go inward and that this, what shifted? Because I think there's a time where something specifically happens where you're like, I'm going inward. And how did that develop to you teaching all of this?
Yeah, thank you, Britta. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. It's just very, very, very touching. So yeah, and I love that you said expect a miracle. And I would, for all of you watching, really tune into that. That is so powerful what you said, Britta. So powerful and so possible. So yes, something did happen to me that absolutely brought me inward into this powerful path of connection to massive faith when times are uncertain. So if I can just take us back several years, I was involved and very, very interested always in transformational work. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, that always felt like a purpose for me, was to help people really understand who they are and how to move forward. And so I was in a transformational group, and we had gone on a retreat, and something happened during that retreat that absolutely, I'm going to say, was very soul shattering to me. I ended up being kicked out of that group during the retreat. And it was done in a way that was, I've gone through divorce. I've been through betrayal with my ex that was heart shattering. I mean, really heart shattering, which led me then on this path of helping women. But during this particular retreat and going through this really, I would say it was one of the most humiliating, devastating, soul shattering experiences that I've ever had, Britta. And it was betrayal on a whole different level. And I think that if you're listening to this, at some point in our life, we are all betrayed.
Yeah.
Whether it be through a partner, whether it be through a parent, a colleague, a friend, and even ourselves. We can betray ourselves, but that's a whole other aspect. But being betrayed by somebody that you've placed your trust in is just devastating. And in this case, there was a lot of character assassination. And that's why I say it was soul shattering, because it came down to me even questioning my value as a human being. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. So what I ended up doing was I went, and it was a very stormy day out. And I was just so shaken, Britta. Like, I don't know if you've ever been so shaken that you can't even think straight. Every thought you have is so unloving to yourself.
Dark and doubtful and fearful. Yes.
Yes. And the sky mirrored that,
Yeah.
just horrible. And then I saw in the distance this light, in the sky. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get to the light. I have to get to the light. So I drove for about an hour. And when I got out, I just prayed. I'd always believed in God, but I just prayed and said, please guide me. And so as I went back to the retreat, I hadn't yet been kicked out, right? I was just on my own to really kind of process things. Something nudged me as I was driving to look to the left. And as I looked to the left, I saw this cross and this church, and it said, Jesus saves. And I thought, I'd never had a relationship really with Jesus. I believed in God, but never a relationship like that. And then I looked to the right, and there were it was in Arizona. So there were these huge, beautiful red rock mountains, and the most gorgeous rainbow flowing over the top with the sun shining through. Still makes me emotional. And I knew when I saw that, everything was going to be okay. And yet when I returned, it wasn't the okay that I was hoping for. I was kicked out of the group. And so I spent a very, very awful evening, awful night. I couldn't sleep. I felt shattered. I didn't know what to do. And because I was not close to home, I had to spend the night there. And when I woke up in the morning, I went to get some coffee, and I overheard this woman next to me sharing with the people that were sitting there about God. And how you're meant to hear something? It just kind of like it resonates at such a deep level, and something really understood that in my soul. And so turns out she was the proprietor of this place that we were having the retreat at. And I asked her if I could pay her to, help me and exercise this, awfulness out of me of what I was feeling. And she was so beautiful. Talk about grace. I mean, she just took my hands and said, honey, you don't have to pay me a penny. And, my husband and I will pray with you. And during that beautiful time, Britta, they were my angels.
Yes.
They really brought me to know Christ. And why that was so important for me was, as I said, I had never had that relationship. And what I discovered from that relationship was a love so deep. And this is what I know a lot of times when you bring up Jesus, a lot of times people, based on how they're raised or whatever, they have some sort of aversion to it. But what I came to know, and what I would hope that I'm able to communicate, is that Jesus is about love, pure love, just that love. And as I allowed that love to flow into my body, literally within 24 hours, the pain was gone. My soul felt healed. And I felt, literally, I did feel joy. And that I could be transformed in 24 hours through allowing that love to flow into my body. It was miraculous. I mean, talk about a miracle. It felt miraculous, miraculous.
Yes.
And so from that, I decided that, that was my mission, that I wanted to know more about this beautiful divine love that, just by allowing it to come into my body, had the power to transform my life and take away my pain and my fears and my sadness. And that was a very uncertain time in my life. Talk about uncertainty and pain and change and betrayal. And so then I made it my mission to learn more and to bring that divine love to everybody that that really wanted to feel more joy in their life, to feel a solid foundation when they're going through uncertainty, and to learn how to access it. So that's how I decided to bring that into my business and to really help people. Because here's the truth: once you have that foundation and you know how to access that power, you know that your strength, your confidence, your ability to move through life comes from within.
Yes.
You mentioned this, Britta. It does not come from without. And I was looking to this leader to give me acceptance, to give me belonging, to help me to understand that I was enough. And she couldn't do that. Nobody can do that other than going within. And what this beautiful connection to divine love did for me was, it was like an alchemy, and it allowed self-love. And ultimately, that is where you want to go, to allow yourself to have that strength to know that you can get through anything.
Oh my God, you said so much. And not only that, your voice and your story and your beautiful ocean in the background is just so meditative. And I'm just sort of in a trance with your story and the ocean. But you said so much, so much. Like, it's almost like it brought you to your knees, this shattering, and what I know for sure, that in the times, and when you say, I don't know if you know those feelings, yes, I've had my heart and my soul shattered, and gone to some really dark places. And what I know for sure is that what I kept hearing in meditation was, God's the potter, you're the clay. But when we're in a shattering situation, it's like dust. And I call this, the 40-day journey that Jesus took in the desert. It was like in the wilderness. It's like you're just these wilderness times when a lot of us, especially right now, where people's lives collapse, their status as they knew it, their identity as they knew it, their job, their marriages, their I'm a great father, but now I'm at home 24/7 and I'm not such a great father. Like all these, right? All these ideas of who we are and identities and masks that we've worn have shattered. And it's been very destabilizing and ungrounding, and people feel lost in this metamorphosis. But that's where God can pick us up and build the best version. It's time to be the most authentic versions of who we are. And what you're saying is that in the shattering, in the dust, in the betrayal is where you found this connection to this divine, to Christ consciousness. I teach based on the Course in Miracles. And that's what this is. It's like this constantly talking about, like, for me, it's also asking spirit, please guide God's love into my heart, because what you explained was a spiritual surgery that happened in 24 hours with the best, most potent medicine that could ever exist in the world. And it's free and it's available to all of us.
Yes.
And you're not broken if you don't have this connection or guidance. It's just a skill that you get to learn and experience and then practice. And then you come to rely upon it. That if I don't sit in my listening sessions, Sherry, I don't know about you, I feel lost.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is why divine connection is the reset that you're talking about. It's absolutely the reset, because we, as much as we would love to be able to figure it out on our own, and sometimes we can, I'm not saying that never happens, but ultimately, when you have all of these things that Britta was talking about that we've all been experiencing over the last year and a half, you are often so worried and anxious that you cannot calm yourself enough to come up with the right direction. And so there is a power, that power that's breathing us, Britta, I also obviously call it God, the Christ consciousness, that knows everything and that knows how to guide you and that can take you out of your pain. That divine love is like a soothing balm to your soul. It transforms, it shifts, it enlightens, because it's love. And love and fear are the only two emotions that there are, and they cannot coexist at the same time.
Yes.
So if you allow the love, then you are automatically, a lot of times people talk about raise your vibration. I have a little bit different outlook on that. I believe that we have a very high vibration naturally. It's who we are. But it's all the sludge of the thoughts that, the experiences, the beliefs that don't serve us, that create this dimming of that vibration, this lowering of that vibration. And so we want to clear it. And I call it your diamond power. It's this you are this beautiful diamond that has the highest vibration imaginable. But when you clog it with all that sludge, then you cannot hear. And
that's right.
see.
And I want to make that distinct. Like people say to me a lot of, Brie, I can't hear the voice. Like I'm just the, we go into that, I'm the only one, it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. And it's like, no, there is just things, regret, shame, guilt, fear, ancestral trauma, your own trauma, that's, ideas, old ideas, little plans and desires that come from my ego that are just blocking it. And so I want to hear from you. I know that one of the things that you also downloaded, and this download thing that we talk about, and most our audience, they're in tune with what we're talking about, but this download, it's like we talk about things that you get through listening, through your process of listening. And I know that you downloaded this 5 keys to love, right? The principles of this love medicine, this is the vaccine for real. Like this is the vaccine.
I love that, Britta.
This is the remedy. This is the answer. This is it. So tell us about those 5 principles. And I love it because see, God is using you as an instrument with this teaching.
Yeah, thank you. And it's again, I want everybody to understand, not just me, not just Britta. I mean, this is available to everybody.
Yes.
It's just about listening. So thank you so much. And it is really with so much happiness and joy that I share these. And as you hear them, you will be thinking to yourself, well, these are just simple things. And you're right. They are just simple things. But because life getting in the way, we oftentimes forget. And so I find that so many times in the Bible, I think they said the word remember is the most used word in the Bible.
Wow.
So we want to remember these things. And so here they are. The first principle is acceptance of yourself, acceptance of others, and acceptance of what's going on.
Yeah. What is
on. And having grace with that acceptance. Maybe where you don't think somebody else deserves it or that they're acting in such a way, but it is Why it's important is because when you move into acceptance, you open up your channels and you can see things from that higher perspective, from God's perspective. So the second one is develop compassion for yourself and for others. And the third one, which we're going to go deeper into, but I just want to give you all 5 of them before we go back into this, is opening to divine guidance. And there's 3 different steps that I'll come back to. The fourth one is allowing for divine intervention. Oftentimes we want to control the outcome. It has to be our way. That's how we see it. And believe me, I am so guilty of this one as well. We think it needs to be a certain way, just like when I was thrown out of my group and I thought I had this sign that I did have a sign, everything was going to be okay. And then I found out I was thrown out. I was confused. I thought, wait a minute, because my preference would have been to stay in the group, but that was not what was in my best interest. So letting go. So this one, allowing for divine intervention, where we just say, okay, let go, let God is a very common, message that we get. The fifth one is patience, to practice patience. And that can be really challenging when we want things to happen now. So those are the 5 things. Now, I would like to go back to divine guidance, because in uncertain times, when things are just changing so drastically and circumstances are not how you would prefer them to be, we want to learn how to understand, first of all, that we all have circumstances, but we don't want our circumstances to have us. And we do that by letting go of the outer world and going within. That's the only place we have power, is within our own self. The thoughts we choose, what we believe, how we behave, that's the only place we really have power. And that's a great thing, because how awesome is that? That means you have a tremendous way to empower yourself in any circumstance when you go within. And I think that's super exciting. Don't you, Britta?
Yes. And if I can just intersect for like this, everybody pay attention to this, because this is the real task, in my opinion, with the world. The cosmos have us. They're cornering us in a way to break open. We are being forced to the real send home was send home, like that. That's on a spiritual level. We are being asked to master how to anchor in internal power and no longer an external power, because that's finite. And the connection to this internal power is finite, and it's a magic carpet ride when you realize, it just becomes so fun when you're so present. And you're really, because another thing I want to say too, when we're not in this internal power that you're talking about, Sherry, we're either in the future or the past. And that's God's business. The past is God's business. The future is God's business. But if I'm in that business, who is here taking care of Brita? Nobody. Brita is, I'm somewhere else. So who's taking care of my self-care, of loving myself, of being aware of my feelings, emotions? I'm not available. Right. So this is the answer to so much. Like, you're embodied. When you're embodied, you're connected. When you're connected, you have the answers. When you have the answers, you don't need anything or anyone outside of you. All your needs are met. Like, this is medicine today. So please keep going. I just wanted to add that piece.
Well, and thank you, because that was gold, what you just said. Shared. That was gold, Brita. So, and that's exactly right. What keeps us from learning how to do that connection is all the things that are blocking our heart, the resentments, all the things that we've mentioned. And so it's about unblocking it. And that's a journey. It doesn't just happen overnight. It does take time. If you allow it, it can happen like that. So let me share with you what I discovered about divine guidance. I discovered that it's actually 3-step. So the first step is about developing a relationship with God, whatever that is for you, higher power, the universe, source, whatever that is for you. For me, it's God and Jesus as well. But it's really, truly whatever that is for you. It's just that power that is greater than you. And the first step, why it's about developing a relationship, is because think about it. It's like developing any relationship with anyone in your life. When you know somebody, what happens? The next thing that happens is you begin to trust them. And it's incredible. That's the second step, is trust. Developing first this relationship with God to the point where you know him and he knows you. It's like having your best friend call you and they don't have to say who they are. You pick up the phone, you hear their voice, you know who it is. They don't have to say who they are. That's the depth of intimacy that you want with God, with this higher power, so that you can easily hear it. And what I have found is it's not loud. It's generally pretty soft and concise. So you want to develop, and how do you do that? You do that by spending time with God through prayer, through meditation, walks in nature. God is everywhere, but really so prevalent in nature. So if you're having a rough day, you can always just go take a 10-minute walk and it will balance you out. It will balance you out. So you can also listen to music. Music, there is music that is very calming and soothing to the soul, and vibration is a great way to cleanse your thoughts as well. But consistently spending time, just as you would with anybody that you value in your life. Secondly, from that relationship, as I said, comes trust. Very important that you develop a trust with God, because that is where you're going to gain the courage to take the steps that he's going to ask you to take that may be outside your comfort zone. But it's
so for those risk takers, want to take risks, this is where it comes from. The food to take the risk comes from this trust.
Yeah. And it may not make sense to you. You may be told to do something and you're saying, really? I mean, this happened to me many times. Really? I don't know. And you think you know better. And what I've found over and over again, and Brita, I don't know if this has happened to you too, but every time I choose not to listen to that voice and I think I know better, it never goes well.
Especially when you've started developing the relationship. It's like, yes, it's like this electric fence. It's like, oh,
yeah, exactly. And, it's taught me time and time again that really trust is so crucial. And then the third step is surrendering to God, surrendering to really saying, okay, this is what you're saying. I don't really know where I'm going, but I'm trusting based on my relationship with you that and this can be challenging. I'm the first to say it can be challenging, but it is so important. And that is how you actually do create that connection, and so that you can have that guidance. And so I mentioned that it is really important to spend time every day doing this. And so one of the things, when you say, okay, well, how do I develop that guidance? And, maybe you've prayed and it hasn't happened for you, or maybe you've meditated, it hasn't happened for you. So it takes practice. It's just like when you first learned, if you drive, when you first got into a car, it was challenging, right? It was, you had to do it seemed like so many things at once, but you got to a point where you're so familiar with it that it's second nature. It's the same with anything that you learn. And the thing that is so beautiful about divine guidance is that we talked about that we've got all this sludge that's holding you back. And if you could imagine and visualize a hose, when you open to God's divine guidance, it's like this flow of energy, and it flows most efficiently through this construct, and if we allow for that. So if you could imagine, just to understand this, imagine a hose, water's flowing through it.
Right.
But what happens if that hose gets kinked? The flow stops, and then it builds up pressure, right? So it's all the things that are in the way of it, frustration, anger, worry, stress, those things cause the kinks. And so as we take away those things, then we can get the flow going again. And so what I want to teach you today as a breathing technique that
Beautiful.
will, yeah, that will help you to have a heart brain harmony that will allow you to go from the sympathetic nervous system, which is all about fight, flight, um, freeze, where this is where you're in a worried state, you're in an anxious state, and your breathing is erratic, and what that's actually doing is it's really leaning into your sympathetic, where you are not able to think straight because you're just fight, flight, or freeze. When we create a coherency, a harmony between the breath and the brain, the body and the brain, then you go into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is all about relax, rest, and create. So from that place, you can gain God's perspective, which is going to give you answers that you would love to have.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. So I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to follow along with you, but take it away. And if
Okay.
you need me, I'll obviously unmute myself at
Okay.
any point.
Thank you, Brita. So if you're in a space where it's safe to do so, I would like you to and invite you to close your eyes, and it's great to be in a comfortable space. So if you're in a chair that feels comfortable, but you want to be sitting so that your back is erect and that you can create this ease of flow. If you're in a car, then please don't close your eyes. You can always focus inward though. And what I'm going to share with you today is based on heart. It's a process that HeartMath studied and researched for quite a while about the heart and brain coherency. And then I'm going to add some other things that I found to be really helpful and powerful conversations that I've heard through Greg Braden, I've traveled to Egypt and to Peru, and different things that I have learned over the course of my travels as well. And I'm going to take you through a 3-step process. And the process begins, as we were talking about, Brita and I, that it always begins with shifting your awareness from the outside to the inner world. And when we make that shift, it sends a really powerful signal to our body. It allows our awareness to go from our mind to our body. And when we go from our mind to our body, then that really signals, and the best way to do this is through breathing. And what happens when we're breathing, and I'm going to be leading you through a process, so I'll be taking you through that. When you are breathing and your body is slowing down through this breath work, that signals your body that you're safe. And it's like a switch. It starts to release, all of these chemicals and things that allow you to feel more peaceful. And so the other thing that we're going to be looking at is choosing, in addition to this breath work, is to be choosing a feeling that you get to choose, rather than being in a place of feeling something based on what's going on in your outer world. You get to choose the feeling. And so if you can, I'm going to give you 4 feelings that you can choose from, and you can decide which one you would like to go deeper into. One of them is gratitude. Another is care, another is appreciation, and another is compassion. And we're going to want to hold the feeling as though it's really embedded in our heart and anchored in our heart for about 3 minutes. And as I said, I'm going to be walking you through this. But what this will do is, at about 3 minutes into it, it will help to decrease stress, and it will help to open the door to that divine love. And from there, you can access intuition. You can ask questions. You can clear out things that are the kinks in your hose, right? And you can gain a deeper understanding and connection to God and to what His wisdom is for you. So go ahead, and you've got your eyes closed. Allow your awareness to move from the outer world, going within, and focus on your heart. Focus on your heart. And imagine that you are breathing into your heart. And we want to take slow, rhythmic breaths. So I invite you to breathe into your heart a little slower than normal. So you're going to be taking about a 5-second breath into that heart on the inhale and releasing as well to about a 5-second count and releasing through the heart as well. Inhaling again through that heart and releasing. And you want to make this a slow, rhythmic breath, breathing slower than you would normally. And that will start to calm your body down. And you will feel yourself relaxing, feel your shoulders dropping away from your ears, feel your mind calming as you're breathing in and out of your heart center. We're going to take a few more breaths, deep, rhythmic breaths in and out of the heart center. And as you do this, I'm going to give you a sound from a gem-infused sound bowl that will help to connect to the essence of love. And now we're going to move into the next step, which is I invite you to have a feeling, the feeling of appreciation, of care. You can bring someone, something, someplace into your mind that you have deep appreciation for, deep gratitude for, compassion, connecting with this feeling. I'm going to choose gratitude because I'm so grateful to be here, to have the opportunity to share this process and connection with all of you. And as you continue to slowly breathe, you're going to hold this feeling. You want to anchor this feeling, the appreciation, the care, the gratitude, or the compassion, one or more than one. Holding that and anchoring it into your heart. Really feel it. Allow yourself to settle into that space, that feeling. You might start to feel your heart expand. You might start to feel warmth emanating through your body. This is a powerful and a fertile place. From here, you can access God's wisdom. Continue to breathe. Moving more deeply into that heart. I'm going to sound the singing bowl one more time. And now you're going to ask a few questions of your heart. Simple questions. going to ask the questions in a direct way, in a concise way, and often you'll get the answer before you even finish the question. You'll ask the question by directing your attention to your heart, and you may want to put a finger on your heart. You may want to put your palm on your heart. First question you're going to ask is, my heart, what do you want me to know right now? Divine love, God will answer you quickly. If it's a long answer, go back and ask the question again, because that wouldn't be direct from God. It's more your ego if it's a long, justifiable answer. My heart, what do you want me to know right now? The second question you'll ask, my heart, what do you need from me right now? My heart, what do you need from me right now? And the third question, many of you have uncertainty or changes in your life, and you might feel stuck. So I invite you to turn in with a question. As many people, we might ask other people's for an opinion, but I invite you to ask your heart. My heart, what is true for me in the absence of other people's opinions right now, in this moment? What is true for me? You don't want to chase the answer. Let it come to you. My heart, what is true for me? What is the direction for me? And you want to make a mental note of the answers, because you're in a bit of an altered state, and what seems really clear right now may feel like a faraway thought as you come back into the moment and go about your day. So take a deep breath, inhaling. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to open your eyes and become present to my voice and this conversation. And just know that you can return here at any time.
Wow. I know that was very powerful for all of you. I mean, I was almost in tears from what I heard. I'll just share the last question that, what's true for me. And I just heard that you are the light of the world. You just need to be the light. That's it. That's your only function, is to be the light. Oh,
Rita,
my
that is
God. I've been off roll.
and
I was like, like, I've been off roll a little bit, so thank you. It's like my only function is to be the light
Yeah.
in all circumstances.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. And I hope that this process will be one that provides you with answers. Those of you listening, anytime you feel like your circumstances are not what you would prefer, you can go and do this very easy. As Brita said earlier, it's free. You can do it any place. The thing I like about breath work is you can do it any place, anywhere, and it'll bring you that reset to guide you.
Whew, I know this was already a session that was activating, and because there's a part of us that's, the course has a lesson. Your mind is part of God's mind. It's very holy. My mind is part of God's mind, is very holy. But we forget. And you talked about the Bible having the word. I've never heard that remember. And Jimmy Twyman says, life is just a series of moments where you forget and then you remember. And I like to say, and then I remember who I am and whose I am.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And then I forget. And then I remember, and then I forget, and I remember, and this is a remembrance. Like, be still and know that I am God.
Yes.
That's where you know thyself, in stillness and spending time, because ego has no game in there. In stillness, it's a dissolving of that, and it's a remembrance of who you are. And then that spiritual warfare that's armor and medicine. It's like you can walk away going, oh God. And when you remember who you are, digestion improves, your eyes are bright, all of a sudden people are looking at you like, what'd you do? But you didn't do anything. You're just in your light. And that's why you look like how you look, Sherry. It's like your eyes are piercing and your light and your grace. Like, it's that.
Thank you.
It's that daily mana that you nourish every cell with: soul, mental, emotional, energetic body, physical body, digestion, toes, nails, hair,
Yeah.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh. So we've gotten to the point where we are doing a short fire round of questions. Are you okay to move to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. I don't even know what I'm asking you. I downloaded all these questions prior to the event, and now who? And I think I may know the answer, because to me, what Sherry taught today is the answer to all things. Everything is just different routes, but this is the one that my eye went to, so I'm going to trust. What value do you stand by and live by that helps minimize the impact of the burn or chaos during challenges?
It's my connection to God and Jesus. Without that, honestly, I can spin and spin and spin in a downward cycle. But what really holds me is to know that there is good in everything, even if you don't see it. There is good, that God will bring the good to you.
Yes. How have you come to have compassion for yourself in some of your darkest moments?
That's a great question. And it can be challenging because of the beliefs that we carry, the experiences that we've had, the ideas that we have about ourselves. And so what helps me is to ask God in those moments, show me, what is it that I need to see? What is it that I need to know? What is it that I need to feel in order to be the person I am meant to be?
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. And then I'm going to choose one last one. Let's see, one came to mind as you were speaking, if I can find it here. How do you boost your immune system? Can you give us one tip physically, one tip mentally? I know what your spiritual tip's going to be, but if we can have how do you boost your immune system physically, mentally, and spiritually?
Okay. Well, physically, you can boost your immune system. I use exercise, absolutely. And I've always taken supplements as well, but physically exercise is fantastic and it clears your mind as well and makes you feel good. Breathing is a way that you can boost your immune system because of all the toxins that that move out and all of the chemicals and hormones that are released when you go into the parasympathetic nervous system. There's this whole like cocktail of chemicals that's released. It helps boost your immune system. Oh, one other thing that I have to say, smiling. Smiling has been, research has shown that smiling boosts your immune system for the same thing. Whether you're happy or not, the brain registers that you're smiling. And because of the way that, your muscles are then positioned, it starts releasing things that go along with happiness that boost your immune system, endorphins and, all these wonderful things.
And, I was shocked to find out that I thought, it's the digestion or the skin, the number one pathway of detoxing. And the number one pathway to detox is through the lungs. Like it's not the colon, it's not the sweat glands, it's through the lungs, it's breath. That's the best way to detoxify a system. And again, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free. So
you just have to master the skill of what to do, when, how, but like you were taught today. Thank you. And I know that the best immune system booster is to be in connection with source. I mean, when I'm just reset on every level when I go into a listening session, so that's beautiful.
Absolutely. Meditation, every morning my ritual is I get up, I read, I have a book called Jesus Calling.
Oh my God, I love Jesus Calling.
I mean, mine is so tattered. I've been, that's my ritual. The first thing I do, sit, read it, and then go into a prayer meditation with it. And that is, as you say, Brita, the best immune booster you could ever have. Because think about it, truly, God can cure anything. We are designed to be able to heal. And it's about believing. So that would be the final thing I would want to say is believe it's possible. And if you can't believe it, believe in Brita and my belief that it is possible for you. You can access it.
I sometimes say to clients too, if you don't think that if your God isn't the one that's going to do all this for you, believe in mine. Because people saw when I sold my company and left to go travel the world by myself with 2 suitcases, I didn't know. I had to listen every morning. My mom would be like, okay, you're in Ibiza, your Airbnb is done in 3 days. Where are you going? I said, I haven't sat in meditation today. I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? You need to, I'm like, no, I don't need to make a decision. It's going to be made for me. So anyway, you can borrow Sherri's God or higher power or source or spirit that's working through her life. You can borrow ours. We, pray to, ask 2 hours if you yet don't have the belief that you have this enormous power that is for you, with you, and always guiding you. Oh my God, we could have, I went a little longer because I knew you guys, this was just, and I know we're towards the end of the 11 days, it's a spiritual, and this was like just such an incredible way to like seal, like put the dot, like it is, this is it. And so I'm so grateful for you, Sherri. I love your light. I love your energy. I just love what you stand for. And thank you for coming to share all of it with us today.
Oh, thank you, Brita. You are beautiful. Your light shines through so much. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's truly been an honor to be here with you all. And I am just really proud to have been a part of this. Thank you.
It was all orchestrated. I say we had a divine appointment. There are no mistakes. So For all of you, I want to hear what transpired. What did you hear? If you feel like sharing, what was most impactful during this incredible segment? What do you love about Sherri, about her process, what she talked? What were some aha moments? And what are you committed to after this? You know, what are you committed to learning or doing or letting go of or surrendering? I'd love to hear. So go to the Facebook page and let me know. And I would love to dialogue there with you. Until then, I don't know, Sherri, any last word that you want to just really punctuate with?
Yeah, just know that you are so loved, and that higher power is there for you 24/7, just waiting for you to make that connection. Step into it because it's there for you, and you will lead a focus-based life once you start doing that. All the fears and all the confusion will dissipate, and really step into what Brita said. If you can't believe it for yourself, believe in our belief. Believe in the gods that we believe in, because they are real. They are more real than the car you drive or the house you may live in, or anything that's physical. It's real.
Yes. And I just looked at my clock at the time we're recording this. It's 1:11. So it's 1:11. So we started this on 11:11. It's 11 days and we're ending on 1:11. And I just felt like God smiling as we were talking. It's like, and that to me, like there's messages. So, oh my God, we could keep going and going. So friends, thank you for being here. I hope that you were impacted and you're feeling as elevated as I am. So Sherri and I are signing off for now, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.